Migo. So today we're going to talk about the new update of the EasyRB Pro add-on. This update is 1.1.2, and as you see, when you open the add-on, now you will see that I did some changes in the UI and the layout, and I added some new options and some new stuff. So let's talk about them. Let's go. So today I'm going to show you how to make cool animation or cool stuff with this add-on, while I will explain some of the new features, and I will show you how to use some tools from this add-on to make cool stuff. Okay, let's go. So let's talk about the duplicate panel. As you see, I made some modification, and I rearranged the UI to make it more pleasing, and I simplify it a little bit. So what this duplicate do, if we press right here, it will duplicate in form of grid like this. And if we press here, it will duplicate in form of circle, but we have to increase the count a little bit. Maybe I want 20, select right here, and it will duplicate like this. And if I try to rotate like this and press duplicate, it will apply the rotation and like this. Okay. And I have this cube. If we go back to 5 count, I can duplicate in cube formation like this. And of course, if we go 60, I can duplicate in the sphere shape. And of course, I can increase the radius like this. And this works for multiple objects. I can select 2 objects or 3 or 4, and I can duplicate them. And we have this option to duplicate in any axis we want. We can duplicate in the x-axis, in the negative x, in the y, negative y, in the z, negative z. And it works for multiple objects too, so you can duplicate multiple objects. And you can decrease the radius to maybe 2 meters. And you can duplicate in the x like this, or maybe 1 meter. You can duplicate like this and go in the y-axis, and maybe select those, go in the z-axis like this. And you can build cool stuff like this. And let me go right here. Okay. And you can apply a rigid body physics to do stuff. Okay, so let's select my name and select this one. Okay, so we saw those tools before. I just rearrange them, and you can go back to the old videos to see what those all options do. Most of them are very basics, and you can apply the scale from here to scale. You can go up, apply the scale. And yep, that's it for the duplicate. We explained this a lot. Let's focus on the new stuff. So now let's talk about the new RB emitter and what's new about it. So as you see, I added some stuff to this panel. Some of customers request that I add control for the frictions and the bounciness and some velocity controls. So I added those. And let's see, let me explain how this emitter works. So if you want to emit from this empty, I just select it and press emit. Now you see that a new collection that created right here. And if I want to emit, I have those objects, those Lego pieces. I want to emit them from this empty. I can just select them and press M and move them inside this collection. Put objects right here. Now, as you see, our pieces are inside these collections. So now if we try to emit with these default settings, let's see what we will have right here. Now, you will not see it like this because I have the gravity turned off. So let's turn on the gravity. Let's remove this and let's emit again. You will see it like this. Okay, so we have those objects emitting from this empty, and the emitter is actually a grid. So if we want to change the emitter, we have this option to change it to a sphere. So we just enable this sphere and select the empty and press emit. Now, as you see, it will emit from a sphere volume like this. And by the way, those objects have a rigid body physics. Now, if we go to the duplicate and we added a ground, as you see, now if we try to emit again from the RB emitter like this, you will see that we have a problem. What is this problem? Because we put it, I think we put our ground inside this collection, and this is bad because now the emitter will emit even the ground. So be careful doing that. So what we're gonna need to do, we're gonna delete the emission. Now you're gonna select your ground and move it outside this collection. Okay, now is inside this Lego collection. We don't care about it really. Just don't put it inside right here. Okay, so now we're gonna select the empty again and press emit. Now you will see that those objects have a rigid body physics, and they will react to this ground because the ground have a rigid body passive, and it will not move, but these objects will react to it. Okay, and by the way, those objects right here that does not have a rigid body physics, so it does not need to put object with rigid body physics. Those objects right here are static objects. So this emitter will add the rigid body based on your settings right here. And let me show you. Now if we emit, we have the emitter size of 5 and the count is 50 and the object size is 1. By the way, I fixed the object size in the last update. It wasn't accurate, but now the object will emit as the size of those inputs. So the outputs will be in the same size, and we have this emit each 3 frames. So the emitter will emit each 3 frames, and we have the minimum and the maximum of the object's number. So each 3 frame, the emitter will emit 1 or 2 objects in the same position. Okay, so for more stable emission, I will advise you to set the maximum and the minimum to 1, but of course you can go higher as you need it, or as you will see later in the example. We're going to use some higher values to get some cool effects. And we have those new option that I added that called those new options. We have the mass and the friction and the bounciness and the speed loss and the RT loss. So let's try to emit again, but this time from a grid. Let's emit. And as you see, you have this type of emission. What I like to do is, before I said, let's see the values of this. So if we select this one of those objects or one of those pieces, you will see that we have the friction set to 0 from here, and the rotation loss is the same right here. So if we emit, we can also change the values from this RB physics. We can select everything and press Alt, and maybe you can change this speed and this rotation. Now we will get another type of emission. So if you set the physics from from right here, you can also later change them from this RB physics. You just go here in the end of the timeline, and you select everything, and you can put the friction, bounciness, rotation loss, and change those settings and play with them as you like. And you will see that we changed the simulation type and the other stuff. But if you want to just make them maybe from here, let's set the friction to 1 and the bounciness to 1. Now let's try to emit again. So if we select one of them, you will see that the friction now is 1 and the bounciness is 1. And as you see, those are the first option that you can use from the emitter. And if you want to change them, you cannot change them from here. If you change them from here, it will not change for the objects. It will change for the next emission, but you can change them from here. You can select from this physics, and you can change the friction and the bounciness. You press Alt to change for all objects. So now if we select any object, you will see that they have the same values of this friction and the bounciness. Okay, so how I like to use this RB emitter, I like to make the size of the RB emitter 0, so it will emit from a single point. Let me show you now. If we emit, it will emit from a single point like this, and that's very cool effect. Okay, and what's more cool about this, if we remove this ground, we don't need it right now, and we turn off the gravity. Okay, let's turn on we turn off the gravity. Now if we try to emit, you will see it will emit like this. Very cool. what we can do, we can delete this one, and we can increase the size of this, the total count. I mean, we can increase the total count to 150, and let's increase the emission or decrease the emission. We needed to emit from each frame, and we needed to emit a minimum of 1 and maximum of 1 object, and we need to this friction make it 0 and the bounciness make it 0, and we need to make this RT loss, it means the rotation loss, we need to make it. Let me show you first. If we emit like this, what will happen? Okay, we're gonna wait a little bit. Okay, now let's play our animation. You will see that the objects does not rotate. They will emit, they will move, but there is 0 rotation for the object. So now this value is 100% loss of the rotation. So the objects will never rotate. But if we delete this one, and maybe let's make the number just 100, so it will work faster. And let's make this RT 0.7, just to give them a little bit of rotation. Now let's see if we emit. Now let's play the animation. You will see that those objects will rotate a little bit. As you see, some of them will rotate very fast based on the friction with other objects or based on the collision with other objects. As you see right now, we have this rotation, and the speed loss is the velocity or the speed of the object. So if we set the speed to 1, the objects will lose immediately. They will lose the speed or the velocity, and we can use this this value. As you see now, they will stop immediately. They will not move outside this emitter. As I said, we can use this to make cool effects, but if I want them to move or they keep their velocity, I can make this lower value like this, and I can select this one, emit. Let's maybe just make 50 to make it faster. Okay. If we emit again, you will see the velocity is very high and they will keep moving like this. Okay, they will not stop. Okay, so we explained those two options. Right now, let's see what let's reset this to the default values like this, and let's see the min and max what we'll do. Now, if we set the minimum objects to be 10 and the maximum objects to be maybe 12 like this, and say emit, you will see that the emission will be very fast. Now, you will see that the emitter will emit 10 objects each time, you see, like this, and you'll see that this effect is very cool. You can do a lot of stuff with this. Maybe let's remove it and give them a little bit of rotation. Okay, so like this, it's like explode. Of course, you can change this to maximum of 300 like this. Okay, so let's make something interesting. Or sorry, we didn't talk about the rotation. So as you see now, if we make some settings, maybe let's decrease the size to 0.5 and reset this to 1, reset this to 1, and let's reset this. Okay, so we have everything is in the default values, and we have this emitter size. We need it always to be 0 to get our effect. Now, if we try to emit right now, or let me demonstrate it with one object so you can understand first what I'm talking about. So let's remove those objects from this collection and move them inside this Lego collection. Now we have only one object, and let's move it right here so we can see better what I'm talking about. So if we try to emit right now, you will see that this object is emitting upside and it does not have a rotation. And if I try to rotate these objects like this, and let me see what will happen. So let's emit again. As you see, it will emit in this size, in this direction. So what I want to say that the rotation of the object will affect the emission direction and the rotation of the emitted object. It's not accurate yet, but it's a way of controlling the rotation. So if we try to rotate this in this direction, and let's remove this and let's emit maybe just 25 for the sake of time, and let's emit. Now you will see that this object will emit in this direction. Okay, so we can control the rotation from the rotation of the object, but this is not accurate in all of the cases. Some objects will not let you control because the problem is in the collision. So if we try to emit this monkey head, so let's move this cube outside. Okay, so now if we try to emit this monkey head from this emitter, we still didn't remove this. So, okay, let's emit this monkey head, and as you see, it will emit outside. But if we try to rotate it like this down, the rotation, it will be random. It will not be accurate to this one. I mean the direction, the rotation is accurate, but the direction, it will not be accurate. So if we try to rotate it like this and we try to emit, as you see, the rotation of the monkey is the same as this one, but the direction is not accurate. So this is what I'm working to fix in the next updates. But for now, you can, of course, use some force fields to direct the emission, because it's very hard to control the direction for now. But you have this option, of course, to rotate the objects as you want. Okay, let's go back to our Lego, and let's move them inside this collection, and let's make something cool with them. So let's move this object right here, and let's randomize the rotation of them. So let's select them, and if we go to duplicate, we have this transform, and we're gonna go right here, and we need to randomize the rotation of the x-axis like this. Okay, gonna randomize it a little bit, and we can randomize the z, but maybe like this. Okay, so we have this. Maybe let's move them a little bit. This will not, the spacing will not affect the emission, but it's just better for us to see the objects. Now, if we try to emit again, where is the emitter? Let's emit again. We have this effect. Okay, nice. Now what we can do, we can give them a little bit of rotation, maybe 0.8. Let's emit again. Okay, we have cool effect. Now what we can do, we can just we can increase this to 100, and let's emit again. Okay, we have this effect right now. Very cool, but we can do better. How we can do better? We can add a force field. Let's add a force field right here, and we're gonna select this force, and we go right here and make the strength negative, maybe negative 200. And let's see now, if we play the animation again, you will see that those objects will stick right here, and we can get very cool effect like this. Okay, very cool. Now if we see in the viewport, you can see this cool effect. Now I have this collection. I have a camera and background. Okay, I have this effect right now. Let's see in the render. Okay, I think it's a very cool effect. We can also stack more objects right here. Okay, so let's if we try to hide this collection, and you need to hide it, and let's hide our let's move this force outside the collection. Maybe put it here in this logo collection, and we hide it our emitted objects collection, and now we can emit from the empty right here. I don't know why I have two empties, but who cares? We have this empty again. We can emit one more time, but this time I want to emit from the frame. 100, and I want to emit 10 objects, and right here 10 objects, and I want to emit each 5 frames. Okay, and let's emit. Okay, we press emit and we wait a little bit. Now if we play the simulation, now we will see this effect right now. Okay, it's not very good, but what we can do, we can enable our first emitted object collection. Let's see the effect right now. So very nice. Now what we can do, we can hide those two collections, and maybe I want more in the beginning. So let's say in frame 1, emit one object and one object each 2 frames. So let's maybe make it just each 2 frames, and let's emit again. We wait a little bit. Okay, let's play the animation, and we have this emission. I'm doing this to show you something cool about this add-on. Okay, we have this emission. Now let's enable those 2 collections. Okay, so let's go to the render and let's play our animation. As you see, our animation is a little bit slow because if you see in the physics tab, you will see that this all these cubes or all our pieces are in convex hull collision, and will take some time to calculate. If you have like a lot of objects like this, it will take a lot of time to calculate. So what we can do, we can select all of those objects by name, and we choose this box collision. You need to press Alt first, then press box. Now if we play the simulation again, you will see that we will get a very fast viewport and very fast effect, but the type of effect will change a little bit because of the type of the box. Of course, you can leave it at convex hull as you want, and you can change it in any time. You just need to go into the last of the timeline and select all of them by name from these options, and you're gonna select this and reset, press Alt and reset back to convex hull. Let's see again. You have this simulation right now. Now you can select all by name, and you can change the friction. Maybe you want more friction for all those objects, you can change it like this and play the simulation again. You will get more frictions and the objects will collide with each other more and more. Okay, nice. Now what I want to do, I'm gonna just make this force field a little bit, gonna give it a little bit of noise right here, and you're gonna go maybe to this frame. Let's see the simulation first. Okay, in this frame, frame 170, I'm gonna keyframe the strength right here and move maybe 2 or 4 keyframes or 4 frames, and maybe move 2 or 4 or 5 frames, and we're gonna add a value of 50 or maybe 100, and we're gonna keyframe it right here. Okay, and let's reset the simulation and let's see again what will happen. Now we will see that when our timeline hit this, it will go like this. And let me show you in the viewport. They will move like this. And by the way, this background, I added it rigid body passive right here. So when they will go right here, they will collide with it like this. Okay, and of course we can increase the intensity of this force field from right here. Okay, maybe let's give it 250. Okay, let's see right now what will happen. Okay, nice. For the material, I will show you what material I did use for those objects to randomize the color. It's not really a tutorial for the materials, but I will show you what material did I use. I used this setup, object info, color ramp, plug it in the base color. You can change any color from right here, and it will change for all objects. You can maybe change this color. You can add it a new color. Maybe you want a yellow color. You can make it. Okay. And let's leave it like this. And I have just some imperfection texture. I plug it in the roughness and the bump node with this color ramp. And yep, this is our material. You can see all the values. Okay, so let's move to another example for the RB emitter. So let's see another example of the use to this RB emitter. And I have this cookie right here that I made, and some of you guys maybe saw animation that I did I posted in TikTok and Instagram. So I'm gonna try to recreate that animation using this RB emitter. So we have this, okay, so we have this cookie right here. You're gonna move it right here, and you're gonna select the empty, and let's reset everything. Okay, so we reset everything. Nice. So we have this empty. We want to emit this object. Okay, so select this empty and move it up a little bit so we can see it. And we have this empty. Press emit. You have this collection. Put the objects right here. You're gonna select your cookie and put it inside this collection. Okay. Now we're going to select the emitter, and let's make the size of the emitter 0 like this, and the total count, let's set it to 40, and we keep the size as 1. We're going to emit each 3 frames, and the max objects, we're going to make it 1, and the mass of the object, we're going to change this later, but it's okay for now. Friction, no friction, bounciness, no bounciness, and let's try to emit like this and see what will happen. Now if we play the simulation, you will see it's emitting like this, and it's a little bit slow because as you see our object have 30,000 triangle, and this is a little bit intense, but it's okay for our case right now. What we can do, we can maybe decrease the sub-steps. We have now 10 sub-steps. We can go to maybe 6. Okay, let's try again. Okay, now we are faster a little bit. That's cool. What we can do, we can delete this one, but I want to emit each 7 frames, not 3 frames, so we get a lower emission and some space between the emission. So let's try, and yep, like this. This is cool. Now I want to show you something. Now let's leave this emission, this collection, and let's hide it. And I want the direction to be let's delete this annoying, and I want the direction to be up. I want this empty to emit up. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna rotate our object a little bit like this and try again and see if this will emit up or down. Okay, so that's will emit up, but the emission is a little bit not as we want, so let's rotate the object a little bit like this. So now if we see how much angle, we are in 25 angle almost. So what I'm looking for is angle like this, okay, so almost like this. So that's what I'm looking for. So let's rotate it a little bit like this and see if it will shoot up or no. Okay, so that's in the opposite direction. So what we need to do, maybe we rotate it in the opposite direction like this and hope for the best. Okay, so let's emit. Okay, it's almost perfect. So let's just adjust the rotation a little bit like this. So this is a little bit hard because I'm working for a solution to fix the rotation. Let me just adjust it like this. So that's what I'm looking for. Exactly like this, okay? That's cool. That's cool. What we can do right now, we can try to play with this emission. And let me show you something first before we go. So I said we have these two collection right now. If we play the simulation, you will see it will be a little bit chaotic. So some stuff go up, some stuff go down. But if I did something like this and I don't like the first one, if I try to delete it now, you'll see that it will delete everything, the first and the second one, but I want to delete only the first one. So I give you this option. If you hide the second collection from the viewport and press delete, it will delete only the first one, okay? And you have also, if you exclude it from this, even it's visible in the viewport, and you exclude it from here and press delete, it will delete the first collection. So that's the option. If you want to delete any collection and leave the other one, you just make the other one invisible and you can delete this one, okay? So in our case, we're gonna delete the first collection. So we're gonna disable and delete the first collection, okay? So we have this collection right now. That's what we are working with. So the imaging is cool, but it needs some fixes. So we're gonna delete it. We can adjust it from the RB physics, but I want to have a little bit of base. So let's delete it, select the empty, and I want to give them a little bit of rotation. So now the objects, they have no rotation at all. Let's give them value of 0.8 and try to emit again. And let's see. Okay, that's very nice. Very nice effect. Don't worry about this one. It's always one object will go outside the line, and we can delete it, of course, no problem. Okay, so we have this effect. It's very cool, and as you see, they will break right here. What we can do, let me delete this annoying. What we can do, can make them stick a little bit together if we add a little bit of friction. So if we like this emission, what we can do, we can go right here, go to the end of the timeline and select them all. From the RB physics, you can add a little bit of friction. So let's press Alt and move this value to maybe 0.4, like this, 0.4. And let's try to simulate again. And now they should stick together a little bit. Okay, that's nice. And let's see. Okay, that's what we are looking for. Very cool. We can delete this one, of course. Sometimes it will stuck right here because there is no force to push it. So let's see the effect one more time. Okay, nice. Now what we need to add, we need to add a force right here in the middle. So let's add a force and move it in this empty. Let's select our force and snap it to this empty. Okay, so And we're gonna go here into the settings and make the strength of the force minus 50 maybe. Let's see what 50 can do. If it can pull them down or no. It can pull them, but I think this force is a little bit weak. So what we can do, we can make it minus 200 like this. Okay, so let's see. Yep, minus 200 is okay, but as you see now, it will affect them immediately. I think we need to keyframe it maybe right here in 100. We're gonna give it the value of negative 200, and we're gonna go maybe 5 frames or 10 frames right here and make it 0. So in the beginning, it will not affect these objects, but when we hit the 100 frame, it will affect them like this. Okay, nice. Now as you see, the force, those objects will, as you see, the objects will not break right here because we have some friction. I think our friction value is very high. So what we can do, we can go right here and select them all and make the friction a little bit, maybe 0.1. Let's try again. Okay, now they will break like this. Very nice. And this is how I made that animation. Very easy, very simple. You can also maybe, if you see some of them stuck like this, you see those fours, they will not break. You can select one of them and maybe make the friction a little bit lower for this, just this cookie. Make it so it will break, so it will not. And as you see, it will break right here, as you see, because the friction will not happen right there. And of course, you can add some noise to this force to make it a little bit to make a little bit of movement for the objects. And yep, this is how I made that animation. Very simple. You can, if you like this animation, you can bake it. You can bake it maybe 300 frame, and we bake it from the bake panel. And as you see, you can see the progress right now. And let's see our animation. And yep, that's it. This is how I made that animation. You can add, of course, a camera. Okay, nice. Okay, guys, that's okay for this one. I'm gonna play with it later a little bit to adjust some values and adjust the lighting. I think you understand the concept and the workflow of this emitter. And of course, there is no limits for using this emitter. I just need to adjust the rotation. In the next updates, I will work to give you an option for the rotation. And yep, that's all about this emitter. You can, of course, make anything you want with it. And yep, let's move to the other panels and see what's new about them. Okay, let's go. So I explained it, those two tabs right here, the duplicate and the RB emitter. Now let's talk a little bit about the RB physics. I explained this a lot in the last videos, but I will give you an example just to explain it to the new viewers and what can this tab do. So I have a sphere right here and I have those objects. I want to add a rigid body to this sphere. So I can just press right here RB active, and if I play the simulation, you will see that this ball will fall due to the gravity, and we have all of those other options: friction, bounciness, RP loss, speed loss, freeze. And I want this object, one drop, it will collide with this one and this one. Okay, so we have to make this one passive, because if we make it active, you will see they will both drop like this, and we need to make it passive like this. So when the ball will drop, it will collide with it. But there is a problem right here. So if we move the ball a little bit right here, as you see, it will stop right here and it will not go down. And this is because we have to make the collision shape of this I don't know what we call this, but anyways, you have to make the collision shape to mesh. Okay, now if we play the simulation again, you'll see that it will drop like this and it will collide perfectly, but it will not collide with this thing because we didn't give it any rigid body to this object. So we can make it rigid body passive too. And if we play the simulation, you will see it will drop like this and it will collide with this object. Good. What's good about this, we can make this object and give it mesh collision for better collision handling. And that's nice. Now, this ball is not working perfect. It's a little bit slow right here. So what we can make, we can give this ball a convex or change the collision from convex hole to sphere. And this will speed our simulation a little bit and make the ball a little bit sliding. Okay, so this is good. Now what we can do, let's duplicate those with the duplicate option, and I want to duplicate in a grid or a cube form like this. And now let's select them all. As you see, if I select, I forget to rename this. I don't know. I forget to rename it. So the name of it is still sphere. If I select those spheres, they have the same name. If I select, it will select one of. It will select them all because they have the same name. I have another option. If I'm too lazy to rename this, I have another option to select by verts. Now it will select the object that will have the same verts number. Okay, so this is for the lazy people that don't like to name the objects like me. Okay, so you have this option. You can select them, and now I want to make them a little bit smaller. You can scale them with S like this, or you go right here to the origin and scale them like this, or you have a better option is this update scale, and you just press right here and wait, and it will give them all the same scale like this. And if you want to adjust like this, you can of course give them maybe you're gonna scale them up a little bit. Okay, like this, I think nice. Now they will collide like this. Okay, let's see right now. Now some of them will drop because we need to select them, and let's align them a little bit better like this. Rotate from here, align it in the middle. Now I think we will have better collision. Okay, so nice. Now we have to animate this thing to rotate. So let's give it a driver in the z-axis. We're gonna type here hashtag frame /30. Okay, now this thing will rotate like this, but it will not collide with those balls because it have a rigid body passive, and rigid body passive will not collide with the animated object. So what we need to do, we're going to select this object and change it to active, and now if we play, it will drop like this, and we need to set it to animated, so it will not move due to the gravity. Now as you see, our object is colliding perfect with the spheres, and it will move them like this. Okay, as you see, we can increase the number of those objects. Maybe you select those ones, and we have from duplicate right here, we can go up in the z-axis. We're gonna just by 3, you're gonna go up, and you're gonna go up one more time, and let's see. And we have a lot of spheres right now, and as you see, some of them will go outside the that thing. We can also select this mesh and maybe move it up a little bit, so increase the border size. Okay, so let's go outside the edit mode and reset the simulation. Now we have this shape. We can keep going and we can add more stuff, maybe select those. Let's go maybe just 5 in the z-axis and try to simulate. And as you see, you can keep going for infinity. So let's explain some other stuff. So explain it, the animated, the mesh collision, the margin collision. I think if you want, sometimes some balls, if your substeps is very low, like 1, you'll see that some balls will drop from this, as you see. That's because our substep is very low. You can make it maybe 6, and you can select this one and increase the margin or decrease it. Basically, margin of 0 is better for the collision. Now I hope it will not drop from the. Yep, it will not drop. So you have all of those options. You have the friction. You can select all the objects. Let's say by verts. Select them, and you can press Alt to adjust the friction and the bounciness. Okay. So as you see, they will bounce now because they have bounciness of 1, and we don't want that. So let's go back, select everything. I still forget to select by verts. Let me just name this thing. Let's name it GG. Okay. Now let's try it again. Let's adjust the bounciness. Press Alt, remove the bounciness, and we let the friction. Okay. And this will give us this cool effect or this cool simulation. Okay, you have the now we have to explain the speed loss and the rotation loss. I guess we explain it in the RB emitter. So it's just if you select those objects, maybe let me delete all of those. Now let's explain the speed loss and the rotation loss. Let's change these values to 0. Now if we play the simulation, you'll see they will drop in the same time like this. And if we change maybe the speed loss of this to 1 or maybe 0.8 like this, and you will see it will drop slower than those objects. So this option right here of the speed loss, it will control the speed loss of the objects or the velocity of the objects. So if we increase it like this, you will see that those objects are very slow, and if we give it a value of 0.5, will be faster as this. Okay, that's for the speed loss and the rotation loss. Now let's explain the freeze and the unfreeze option. So let's duplicate one more time. I want them. Let's duplicate this in a grid like this. Move it right here in the middle. Now if I press play, they will drop. Now if I want to freeze them, I'm gonna select those and set those to freeze. So those ones will drop and those one will not drop, but they will react only if an object hits them like this. Let me explain to you how. So if we animate these objects from here to here like this. Okay. Now let's make this object RB active and give it animated. Okay, you will see that those objects will not react until some object that have a rigid body hits them. And we can, of course, select them and press and freeze. That will make them drop before these objects hits them. Okay. That's it for the freeze and unfreeze. And if we want to delete everything from the rigid body physics, we have this option to remove all rigid body physics. This will remove everything. So for the kinematics now, if we select those cubes and give them rigid body active, as you see, if we play the simulation, they will drop like this. And I want them to drop in the frame 40 or 30. So let's go to the frame 40, and this is done by the set kinematics. If we press right here set kinematics, it will drop them in the frame 40. Okay, like this. Okay, so set kinematics basically control the animated state of the objects or the rigid body physics. So you can make them drop in any time that you want in the timeline. You can remove them from here. Now they will drop. I want to drop them, maybe select those ones, and I want them to drop in the 60. I go here to the 60 in the timeline, set kinematics. Now if I play, they will not drop until the 60. Okay, and they will drop, okay, like this, and I can remove this effect from here, remove kinematics. Okay, now they will drop like this. And let me talk about the effector. Okay, so the effector is still in beta state. I didn't play with it a lot, and maybe I will add it or remove some stuff based on the experience of the users. Okay, so firstly we need to add an empty, and we're gonna need to move it up right here, and let's increase the size a little bit so we can see it, and you're gonna animate it to move like this. Okay, so like this, nice. Now I need to select those cubes and add kinematics. If you press here add kinematics, this will make the state of the all cubes animated, so they will not move at all. Okay, and this is different from the freeze. So now even if some object that have rigid body active hits them, they will not move because they are animated. So but this empty can affect them if we set it as an effector. So if we go here and set this, select your empty and set it as effector. Now if we play the animation, you will see some objects will drop, and this is based on the range of this value. So if we increase the value to maybe 4 meters like this, you will see that it will affect even more objects. And we can go higher, of course, we can go 10 meters, and let's see what this will affect. And as you see, it will affect a lot of those stuff. Some cubes will drop, and this is because, as you see, it will drop from the beginning. And this is because our empty is still right here when it ends. And I explained this in the last video, because now our emitter or our effector affecting a range of 10 meters. Okay, now those cubes are still in this range when the timeline resets, so it will affect them even when the timeline resets. So we have two options to fix this. The first option is to clear the kinematics from the first, and if you play, it will see it will fix them. And the second option is to increase the timeline, and when the empty stop right here, you need to make it move, maybe move before the timeline end, so it does not affect them. So let's clear the kinematics. Now let's play the simulation, and you will see that when the timeline reset, it will not affect those stuff right here. Okay, let's maybe give it just like this. So make sure always keep your empty far away from the objects. Okay, and what's cool about this, we can even use more objects as an effector. Maybe you want this effector to move like this. Okay, and let's set the effect only to 5 meters, and you need to select them both and set effector like this. You will see that some objects will collide with each other like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to select those empties, and first we need to clear or remove the kinematics. Now we need to edit the kinematics again, and we're going to select this one, and set them as effector. Now let's see. You will see that now the simulation is working perfect. Sometimes if you don't clear or you don't remove the kinematics, you will get some errors or some weird effects, but it's okay. You just need to remove the kinematics and just select add the kinematics back, and you need to select the effectors, set effectors, and this is will fix it. And I will give you an example how to use those effectors. So let me remove all of these, remove all of these cubes, remove all the kinematics. Now let's add an UV sphere, and let's scale it up a little bit like this. Okay, this UV sphere, move it right here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna fracture it. So let's fracture it to pieces. Nice. Now let's move the pieces a little bit right here. Remove this, select the pieces, and move them right here. Okay, or right here. So we can our empty laser affect it. Now we're gonna give those pieces rigid body active. Now they will drop like this. Nice. What we can do, we can select them all and add it the kinematics. Now they will not move, and we're gonna select this empty right here and give it effect and set it as an effector. Now if we play, it will not happen because we need to animate it. So let's animate it first, like this. Okay. Now if we set it an effector again, you will see it will affect only those objects that have the range of 5. Okay, so that's nice. We can do also this one. Can move it right here and animate it. And I'm gonna set maybe the range of those two effectors to 6 meters, and let's play it. And as you see, it will affect like this. Okay, nice. Maybe I want those stuff to stay animated. How I'm gonna do that? I don't want the effector to affect those objects. I have an option to make them locked from this locked animated. And now if the effector play, it will not affect those stuff. Okay, and if I want to unlock them, I just select everything and press here remove lock. Now it will remove the lock. Okay, if I want to maybe lock those ones in the top, I can lock them animated. Okay, and they will stay like this. I can select them, remove lock, reset. Okay, they will drop like this. And those ones will not drop because the effector does not reach them, so they will stay like this. If you want the effector to reach them, you can maybe increase the radius right here to maybe 10 meters. Set effector. Now if you play, you will see that all the ball will fall like this. And what's cool about this, you can even duplicate this one, clear the kinematics, remove the kinematics, and you can move it right here, and you can add the kinematics back. Now if we select those set effectors, now you will see this effect. So this is a cool way to, as you see, this problem will still because our empty stop right here. So we need to move this empty outside before the simulation end right here to fix that problem. Clear the kinematics. Let's play the simulation again. Okay, nice. Now I can show you one more example before we go. I mean, this kinematics still needs some work, and they will add some more stuff. But you can use it now for any project that you want, or if you need it, to use it, you can use it. Okay, I will give you an example just to demonstrate what this option can do. So we have this object right here, and let's duplicate it in the x-axis. Object is very big, so let's scale it down a little bit, apply the scale. Let's duplicate. Okay, nice, like this. Now what we can do, we can select the, go to the RB physics, select them and give them rigid body active, and we're gonna add it kinematics. Now, as you see, our empty will move from this object, but we need our empty, or we can let it like this, so we can see where the empty will stop. It will stop right here. We can make all of those objects. Okay, we can give all of those objects add kinematics. Now they will not move until this empty set as effector. So let's set it with just 2 meters. Let's set it as an effector. Now you will see it will drop like this. based on the range of this effector, and this will drop because our empty will stop right here and the timeline will reset and it will capture the value of the state right here. So the solution is always to move the empty outside before the timeline reset. Let's try right now. Okay. Now, as you see, when the timeline reset, it will not drop from the beginning. So that's a tip for you if you want to use this emitter. Now, what's cool about this emitter, and we can adjust the timing. Maybe I want it to move faster. We can adjust it like this. And we need to clear the kinematics a little bit. Sometimes it does not calculate perfectly. But what's cool about it, as I said, you can adjust the timing of the empty as you like, and it will still affect dynamically the objects. And you just need to clear the kinematics sometimes before it capture the values. And you can just maybe adjust it to be like this, clear the kinematics, and as you see, it will affect them based on these keyframes or the animation of this effector. Okay, this is about the kinematics. Of course, there is a lot of other options. Let's explain the constraints. Okay, so let's go. So let's explain the constraint right now. So we have this sphere and this ground. Okay, so I'm gonna select this sphere, fracture it. Okay, let's move it right here and let's delete this one. We don't need it right now. I'm gonna select this one and give it a rigid body physics. Okay, I'm gonna give it rigid body active, and you're gonna duplicate it and move it right here. So we play the simulation right now. You will see it will drop like this, and every piece will break like this. So the constraint is very easy concept. There is not a lot of explanation about it. But if you try to make it with vanilla blender without the add-on, it's gonna be a lot of pain and it will consume you a lot of time. So I give you this solution to make a quick constraint chain and complex constraint chain with no efforts. Just you select the objects or the pieces that you want to make the constraint and press connect. That's it. And you will see now if we play simulation that those objects are still stick together. As you see, there is some constraint inside these objects, and that's it. Quick and easy. Now if you want to remove them, you have this option to select any object that have constraint. It will select it, and you can remove the constraint from this, and now you're back to the default state. Now if you want to connect just some pieces, you can select maybe this down right here, press connect. Now you will see that those objects have some constraint that hold them together. And what's cool about this, you can select it, remove it, and we have two options or three more options right there down. And the V1 is if we select this and press V1, it will add a constraint between the closed pieces. Maybe those three pieces, it will make constraint between them. So if we select this, maybe this piece, and select this small arrow, it will give us those pieces that are connected to it. So if we play the simulation right now, you will see that these pieces are connected to this big piece, and if we press again, you will see that it will select them. So if I want to know which piece is connected to the other piece, you can just select and press this small arrow, and it will show you what piece are connected to this piece. Okay, so this is what V2 do. So let's remove this one because it's annoying me a little bit. Remove it, and let's keep this one. And now we applied V1 to this. As you see, some pieces are connected to each others, and we can stack the other effects. We can maybe use this V2, and now you will see another effect. As you see, some bigger pieces stick together and some small pieces will not stick. And you can of course select this one and remove it, and you will get another type of constraint, but I think I will remove every constraint. So let's select everything and remove it. Now we are back to the default. Now let me explain this v3. So v3, if you go with value of 1, it will create constraint for all these objects. So let's press v3, and now as you see, it will create constraint for all those pieces. But if we select them, remove them, now I want the value of 0.5, select and press v3. Now you will see it will connect some of those pieces and will not connect some of them. So it's this value is the threshold of the constraint value. You can of course play with it to make any effect that you want. If you don't, if maybe what I like to do is choose some pieces manually like this and connect them with this v3. Maybe we give it 1, connect them, choose those ones, connect them with v3, and if I played simulation, it will give me this type of effect. And I can select those in the middle and give them v1. And you know, you can play with those generators or those stuff to get cool effect. Now you have also option to control the constraints. You can select everything and remove, select everything, connect. Now if we drop this from a higher place, let's see, it will not break. It will stick together, but it will not break. But we have the option to, if we select them and press breakable and maybe give the threshold value of 3 update, now they will break. As you see, they will break like this. You can of course select them all and bring the threshold or set them solid. Now they will not break. Okay, if you want to increase the power of the constraint, you can select them all and press connect again. Okay, now you increase the power a little bit, but you can also stack another layer of the constraint from v3 to 1. Now I think it's very very dense and it will not break, or it will not you know what I mean, it will not break into small pieces. Okay, you can remove it, do whatever you want with this constraint option. I think I will do a tutorial about I have an idea to break some stuff with this constraint option. Let me do a tutorial about it in the next weeks. So that's it for the constraints. Let's go to the bake tab. The bake tab, it's really very simple. You have this simulation. If you want to bake it, you have the bake button, you have the start, the end frame, you have the delete bake, bake to keyframe, reset the simulation. You have all of those options from here. We explained them before. If you press bake right now, maybe I want just 140 frame. I press bake, you will see it bake like this. Okay, I don't like this bake, I delete it from here, delete bake. Now I back to the work. I have bake to keyframes. Maybe I want to bake this simulation to keyframes. I just select it, bake to keyframes, select how many keyframes, press OK, and wait a little bit until it finish. Okay, now it's finished. We have this baked to keyframes. What we can do for this, we can select it, select by name, and we're gonna parent it to an empty. Now we're gonna increase the empty up. And what's cool about this, we can move it and simulation still works, and we can rotate it like this and it still works. You can do a lot of effects with this simulation. And what's cool about this, we can select all of those pieces and go here to the keyframes and gonna select them, press S -1. Now you did an invert, so our simulation will start like this, and as you see, it will go back to the sphere. So that's a way to do a reverse simulation with just bake keyframes. And of course we have reset the simulation and clear the parent and all of those stuff. We explained them before. And let's go to the switch. So now let's talk about the switch, and we have a new option in this panel that called the reverse. Let me explain what this option do. So we have these tools right here, and you can imagine it as a donut, because I didn't want to waste time to make a donut, so just imagine it. And we can go here, fracture, like this, and we can move our objects up a little bit. And what we can do, we can select this one and give it a rigid body active, and if we drop it, it will drop in, let's see, in this frame almost. Let me see, in the orthographic view, it will drop in this frame, let's say 25. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the bake, select this tools, and we're gonna bake it to keyframes. Let's press bake and choose 30 frames. Okay, now we wait a little bit until it bakes. Now we have it baked into a keyframes. That's cool. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna select those pieces. Let me rename this tools. Let me find it and rename it to TR, maybe just like this. So now we can select those objects, and we're gonna move them down right here like this, and move them right here. Okay, now what you're gonna do, you're gonna hide this tools a little bit for now. You're gonna hide it, and you're gonna select those ones, and we're gonna give them a rigid body active. Now if we drop them, they will drop like this. Nice. Now I want, if we press visible for the switch, and let's change this to random so we can see better. Now you will see that our effect is like this, but what we want is, we want this, okay, let me do this so we can see better. So now if we play this simulation, it will drop like this. Okay, what we want to do is to change the visibility right here. We want the pieces to be visible after the frame 55. So I'm gonna select our tools and remove all of those keyframes like this. Okay, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna go here in this frame so we can see everything right here. What we can do, we can select this piece and select everything. Let's go to the switch, and we're gonna need the switch to be in the frame 25. So let's select 25. Okay, and we're gonna select our tools, and our tools need to be the last one to be selected, and it need to be the active object. Okay, so as you see, this tools is now the active object with this yellow line. And now if we press switch visibility, you will see that our pieces are disappeared, but they will be visible in the frame 25. So now you will see when the switch happen like this, and this is very easy operation with one click like this. No need to make a lot of keyframes manually, or just with one click choose the frame, and now you have it. This is the switch, but let me show you now what's the reverse switch do. But first we have this, I want to remove this switch. I want to do something else. How I'm gonna remove these keyframes? I'm gonna just press here, remove switch, and I'm done. Our pieces are now visible again. So I'm gonna show you what's the reverse switch do. So now, as I said, if I select this tools to be the last object, or the active, if I select these tools to be the active object, it will be the first one to be visible. But what if I want the pieces to be the first one visible? So I give you this reverse option. Now if we select those pieces again, and let's select this tools last one, and now I want them to be into 25, and I have activated the reverse, and I press switch. Now you will see that the pieces now are the visible first. Okay, now they will drop. Now as you see, this object will be visible after. So the switch now will be reversed compared the other one. Okay, and I can do a lot of stuff with it, with this option. And let me explain something more. So let's remove the switch and remove everything. I want to explain this clear visibility because it's a little bit important. So I have some cubes. Okay, let's duplicate maybe just 5 in the X. Okay, nice. We have those cubes. Okay, right. Now, if I want to make a switch, I'm gonna select those ones. This one, I want to be visible in the 25. Okay, so I press switch. Now those two objects are hidden, and this one is visible. As you see now, it will switch visibility between those two objects. Okay, in the frame 25. Okay, like this. Okay, we understand that. I can remove the switch from this button. Okay, but this clear visibility is if I select this two or one objects and press clear visibility, and it will ask me if I want to clear. It will clear. Okay, so it will clear it only for this object, and the other object is still not cleared. Okay. Okay, so this will remove everything from the switch, and this clear visibility, it will remove the keyframes only for the selected object. Okay, so if I want to clear this one, I want clear. Okay, this object still hiding, so I can remove it from here. Okay, now what's cool about the remove switch, it remove only the object that set by the switch. Okay, so if I set again the switch in 25, let's switch it. Okay, so we have these two objects, right? I want to hide those objects with a normal keyframes. Okay, I have them in the viewport visible. I can maybe let me select this one, and we're gonna hide them with these keyframes. Okay, I hide this one with keyframes. Okay, so now let me explain to you. I think I got a little bit it's getting a little bit confused, but we have some cubes. We added the visibility with this switch. Okay, and we have a cube right here. We set the visibility manually. Okay, now if we try to remove the switch, guess what will happen? It will remove the switch only from this the object that we added the switch from this switch button. Okay, and this objects right here, it's still not touched, and it still work perfectly. So what I want to say that if you have any object that you set manually, it will not be removed from this switch. Okay, if you press remove switch from here, don't be feared of to remove any other objects visibility. But if you press clear, if you select those objects and press clear, now it will remove them. Okay, so this clear option, it will work for everything, but it need to be selected. But this remove switch, it will work only for the objects that's set by this button, and it will not affect the other objects. Okay, and you don't need to okay, you don't need to select anything. Just press right here remove, and it will remove manually. Okay, or automatically it will remove them. And yep, that's it for our update 1.1.2. And yep, that's it, our add-on. Okay guys, that's it for our add-on. I think I explained it almost everything. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me in the Discord. I will leave the link in the description, so you can check my Discord and ask for information or any question that you have, and I will answer it. And yep, I see you in another tutorial. Make sure to get the add-on link in this description. Thank you for watching.